There, boom. Yeah. You know, part of these reviews is seeing strengths and weaknesses of a ball. Where is the ball best going to perform? For who is it going to perform for? And how does it do at different angles? And I think we found that out pretty crystal clear. What's up, guys? BrunsNick's back, and it's time to introduce the Track Cypher. Now, the Cipher brings back the old school synergy core. You might remember that for you old school track fans. Match with MR8 cover stock with HK22 base. Now, I can't wait to see what this solid performer does on the lanes for me with SPECTO running, of course. But before we get into that, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Now, let's see what Cipher is all about. All right, we're talking about Cipher. Big news here is we're bringing back an old school core, synergy core. Medium RG, medium diff. Numbers are 2.54, differential 047. Now the cover stock on this is MR8, and it has HK22 base. So this should be a nice step up from the sensor solid, a little beefier core, a little bit more differential, a little bit more flare. I'm just gonna get on the lanes. I got SPECTO running. We're gonna start it out. We're gonna move it in, and we're gonna see really what this ball does for me. Let's get started. So, I always start with my left foot on 15. For everybody that wonders, where do you start? That's where I start. Colors on this ball are pretty mean. Kind of a dark green, a lime, some black. Well, we'll see what this one does here for us. Go. Not a bad start out of the gate there. Real smooth. You know, when you get these higher RG bowling balls, these medium differential bowling balls, 040s, 254, it's kind of all right in the middle. This is not going to be a ball that's going to be the biggest hooking ball. You got other balls like that, like Stealth, Archetype, all that good stuff up top. But when it comes to flare, you can see Cipher is no slouch. So this old core still performs like yesterday, but for today. Now we're bowling on crown jewel pattern. It's my normal typical house shot, 43 feet, big gush of oil in the middle, a lot of dry to the outside, and we're playing right up it right now, real smooth. That ball didn't hook a whole lot. Normally I'm pretty quick out of the gate, so right away I'm just gonna keep the speed down a little bit. I'm not gonna try to overthrow this ball because it didn't seem like it wanted to start up early or read early. We'll see. Let's try it again. All right, I just let off just a little bit on the speed, and the ball picked up a lot harder. Went dead flush, went right through the pins, split the 8-9. Nothing more than you want. You know, these are the kind of bowling balls that you really want to just kind of stay in front. You know, you don't want any kind of nonsense as far as overhooking or underhooking. You know, you want a ball that kind of reacts on all different kind of patterns. Bowling balls like the Cipher are where you want to be. I'm going to throw one more shot from there. I wonder what happens when you kind of launch it to the gutter a little bit. You know, there's plenty of dry out there. Will it hook back if I try to send it a little bit more? I don't know. All right, first impressions after the first 3 shots is pretty slow responding. You know, even with HK22, a lot of people say, oh, you put HK22 on everything. Well, the cover stocks start with HK22, and the additive package is what makes these bowling balls different. So with this cover stock package, the additive package, it creates a lot more smoother response, where in certain type cases, HK22 is longer and stronger, as we've seen on something like Effect, Archetype Hybrid, off the spot really hard. But we can dial it back and bring that reaction smoother if we want to, just based on the additives. Get the oil off there. We're gonna make our first move. We're gonna move 5 left, and we're gonna start giving it a little bit of a swing. So we were at 15, now we're gonna be at 20 with my feet to start. And we're gonna play out a little bit over the oil. Not a big swing though. Oh, that is a big swing. Whoops. Yeah, don't send it out the window, kids. Talked myself right out of that one. So, whoops, my bad. People say, hey, do you ever miss? Do you ever miss, Nick? Yeah, I do. There it is. Seems like today this freshly oiled pattern doesn't have the crazy amount of dry boards out there, so we're just going to try not to swing it out for days to try to get it to hook back, because they're not super sparky today. That's all right. A little bit colder today. There we go. Oh man. Yeah, a little bit lazy coming back. So these are the bowling balls that are better from straighter angles. You know, we make so many different bowling balls out there that are good from playing in and hooking off the spot when the lanes have started to broken in. You know, and this ball is not super dull. What is this, 500, 1,000, 2,000? So it's actually, I mean, not dull, but not shiny. It's got some surface to it, but it's not like crazy. I think this is a ball you could probably lean into with a pad and really get that surface duller to bring it the reaction closer to you. Come on. All right. Yeah, it's just all about just modifying that ball speed a little bit, making sure I don't just launch it down the lane, get that ball rolling to get that ball to pick up. You know, I kind of saw it with GB5 a little bit, and pretty much any ball that's made for control is the more you go away from the pocket, the less effective a ball is. So I don't think the Cipher will be any different. It's just been a minute since Track's had a ball like this. You know, Sensor Solid, I think, was in the 030s differential-wise, so you're getting a lot more flare out of this. Let's try one more shot right there. So with a little more flare, you should be able to hook it a little bit more. But it's a little bit more in. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I'm thinking surface on this ball. If you're speed dominant, I mean, bring it down more. You know, the GB5 comes out a lot duller than this. I think 500, 1500, something like that. That step in between to go to 500, 1000, 2000 makes it a lot more versatile for more players. You know, if you're softer speed, then leave it alone. But I'm a little more speed dominant. So I would say, off the top of my head, I would probably hit it with a 1500 pad, Cipher, just to break that shell and give it some more teeth. Because right there, a little bit lazy. So I'm gonna move 5 more. So now I'll be 25 with my feet. And this might be a video where we add some surface to it. Normally I leave these alone, but I think we might just do that this video. Yeah. So on the oil, it kind of skates right through. Doesn't really want to pick up. So we're gonna add a little bit of surface to this ball. Rather than try to struggle playing angles that the ball wasn't designed for, we're gonna hit it with a pad, and we're gonna see what it does right after. All right, so we got 1500 pad. I'm just gonna lightly touch it up by hand just to crack that shell. Sometimes that's all it takes. We're gonna see how much it comes alive right there. We saw what happened on the last shot. So I'm just gonna lightly touch it. A little bit of hand pressure here. Just to take the surface down some and maybe make it a little bit more playable. Because right now, I gotta admit, I'm struggling a little bit. All right, let's wipe off all that surface. All right. So now we got it 1500 grit by hand. We're gonna see if this thing picks up a little bit better and maybe makes it more playable. So let's try it again. We'll see. Oh, that's out wider. There it comes, yeah. I mean, I can't stress it enough. If you're struggling with your ball reaction, then it doesn't matter what ball you have. Change the surface. That's it. Change it. Like, don't be afraid, because you can always bring it back. If you say, I don't know, hit it with 1000 grit, 500 grit, whatever it is, you can always bring it back to factory surface if you want to. You have to follow the steps, but you can get there. So obviously, that hooked a lot. So now I'm curious to see is if I don't miss it out wide, will it still hook and recover through the oil? That's going to be the idea here. Try not to launch it out. I don't know where that one went, forward, early, but you know, like that. Roll it. Yeah, we're back in business now. So 500, 1,000, 2,000 grit for me was kind of lazy. It was okay from straight, but moving in, it was really apparent that the ball did not slow down. And in order to strike, and in order to strike consistently, the ball has to slow down. That's it. The ball has to slow down and change direction. So that passed the test. We're going to move 5 more. We're going to be 15 left of where we began, and we're going to just keep this party going. So we got that 1,500 grit on here. I'm now standing on 30. So we're 15 left of where we got to started at. Bad rack. We're going to see what happens here. Yeah, playing in no man's land right now, looks like. You know, you can manipulate a bowling ball. You know, I'm pretty decent. I've been able to change my speed, change my rotation, get around the side of it a little bit more to get that ball to tip. But at the end of the day, you always got to watch your ball go through the pins. And while it hit kind of flush pocket there, you can see a little bit of deflection to the right. So that tells you the ball's rolling a little bit more forward at the end, going through the pins. And while it struck, because it had perfect entry angle and impact angle there, it didn't have that driving motion at the end. When you kind of split the 8-9, you get one of those powerful strikes. This ball's going to struggle, I think, a little bit playing these deeper angles. Yeah, slow hooking. Yeah, I feel like I'm throwing a little bit softer today, you know, with a little bit more surface and lanes being a little slicker, not as crisp down lane. You know, I'm using a little more surface, and this ball is just not the right ball, I think, for playing that kind of angle. And that's okay. We test a lot of bowling balls. Some are good from in, some are good from out, and I'll tell you, I'm like, hey, I don't feel comfortable playing in the zone right now, and I really don't. So I'm gonna move it 5 more. We'll be, I don't know, 20 left. Yeah, there you go. All the way left to right. And I can tell you that if you ever find me playing this far left with any kind of symmetrical solid, higher RG, I'm not having a good day, probably. No chance. Yeah. It's just not going to be a great ball from in there. I'm going to have to really bring that speed down to the point where it's not going to be very effective when it hits the pins, I think. I'm going to throw 1 more. I'm going to see what it takes. Just what it takes to get it to strike from in there. Obviously threw that out pretty far wide, but it just didn't quite have the pickup. I'm just gonna have to bring the speed down. Yeah, got it back, but still wrap 10. So let's move it back. You know, we tried playing in, the ball struggled. Let's admit it, the ball struggled from further in. Outside it looked pretty good, so I'm gonna move it back right. I think the zone, the first move, the 5-board left, even the straight zone, I'm going to play 2 more shots. One from straight when I played that, where I started on 15, and then we're going to go 5 left. I'm going to throw 2 more shots. I think this ball's really where it's going to shine, is further right. So I'm back to where I started, playing that straighter line. Now with a little more surface, I may need to keep the speed up just a little bit more. Yeah, see, now it picks up even harder because of the surface. That's okay. So we're going to move it 5 left, which will probably be the perfect zone right now. And we're going to throw it again with this box surface that's been changed, so 1,500 grit. And we'll wrap up this video. All right, 5 left. Little swing. This ball should go dead flush. .49. We can't end on that note, can we? Obviously with surface, the ball picks up a lot better. I can be more aggressive with it. I can throw it more like me and not like I have to throw it like the Cipher wants me to. All right, one last shot. There, boom. Yeah, that's it. You know, part of these reviews is seeing strengths and weaknesses of a ball. Where is the ball best going to perform? For who is it going to perform for? And how does it do at different angles? And I think we found that out pretty crystal clear. So, hope you guys learned a little something with the Cipher from New Track, Synergy Core, Medium RG, Medium Differential, HK22, MR8. Check out the merch on Inside Bowling. Check out our podcast every Wednesdays at 3 p.m. unless Phil has to call in sick. So, that's all today. Please subscribe. Talk to you guys soon.